America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific for about an hour and 90 minutes every day. We do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. Then we simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. Or watching the live comments that come in over on Gun Channels, also on YouTube. When it's all over, we'll take the audio and post it as a podcast on iTunes. And we encourage anybody who's listening to the show now or in the future to leave us some feedback on whatever platform it is you listen to us. It'll help us to know where people are listening, and it'll also help the show be recommended to more listeners. So we do appreciate that favor. There are 5 hosts. 3 of us are in here right now. We've got Z. He'll be jumping in about an hour when one of his 9 to 5s is over. Then we've got Smeggy on location at the NRA show. Looks like Tac is in Atlanta as well, joining us on the Gun Channel side. Thanks for checking in. And then that means we got Bob on the road, normally in Canada, down here in Tucson. I think he's still in Tucson.
I'm still in Tucson. Be here for at least another week, if not longer.
Right on. Yeah, I was thinking I got a new scheme, so we'll see if we can't talk Bob into staying maybe a little bit longer even, if I can come up with something. Anyway, then we got Daniel jumping in from Illinois.
Glad to be here.
I'm down here in Tucson as well. And let's see, we're looking at episode number 299. Tomorrow will be our 300th episode. And today is Thursday, so that means we're going to be talking about shooting events. Real big time shooting event happening today. The NRA national meetings and exhibits, I think is what they call it. And this is when NRA members can get together. They move the town that they do it in each year. This year it's in Atlanta, Georgia. The NRA members get together. If you're a life member, for I think 5 years, you can vote for the board. So this is an opportunity to go get a ballot and vote for your board members. Change the NRA to reflect the positions of the membership. It also is a time when they do a lot of the other meetings, the official once-a-year meetings, in a big convention center environment, so it's an opportunity to really sit in on some of those. Then, of course, the exhibits, where it's trade show booths. All the exhibitors are manufacturers and people creating products out there, services. There's 20% of the floor space is dedicated to nonprofits and organizations, collectors, groups, and really awesome event. Any NRA member can go for free. They think they've been doing it for long enough now that they do a pretty good job of facilitating everybody. Should be fun in Atlanta. So we'll be talking about other shooting events, but mostly that one, I suppose, today. And then we'll be starting off with gun stuff. And then we have a training segment on Thursdays as well. Before we dig in too much to what we're going to be doing today, and of course all the stuff we hit on a daily basis, we usually take a break to see if anything interesting happened overnight that's worth talking about.
Well, one thing is that I'm wondering, you mentioned this is show 299 on a Thursday, and of course tomorrow is show 300 on a Friday. And I'm just wondering, numerically as well as day of the week, if there's something that we might want to do special. I don't have anything in particular in mind. I'm just wondering out loud.
Sounds like we should be giving away a Chrysler 300 tomorrow.
There you go.
There's always that potential. That could happen.
Yep.
Could.
At any time. Just like the tactical pop quiz, I could interrupt G-Webs at any time. It doesn't matter how important it is, what he's saying, I can do it, and I have his blessing. And if I didn't, I'd do it anyway.
Hey, we got a good suggestion from the YouTube side from Sean. Said we should give Bob a sombrero and a poncho and call him Roberto.
I'd get a free trip to Mexico.
Yeah, he's an illegal. He ain't supposed to be here. You're too close to this side. They're not going to waste their time taking you all the way to the other side. They're just going to drop you off on this side.
Yeah, they're just going to move you one border over.
So we should give him the sombrero and a poncho, but also one of them GoPros. And then we can see the adventure of Bob getting taken back to Mexico, and then how he.
And I have to sneak back across and then sneak all the way and sneak into Canada. And apparently that's what's happening now.
Now, I noticed in the comments, Too Hottie mentioned Washington State Democrats reintroduced an assault weapons ban legislation. It'd be interesting to get a little bit more information. Is that like something that just happened, or has it actually gotten traction? So, Too Hottie, if you happen to know, drop us a line over at dailygunshow@gmail.com with a link to some information with some more details on it. We'd like to certainly air that dirty laundry. It's dirty because it's not free.
All right, well, I'm looking for a picture here that now I can screen capture. So Smeggy and I were online last night. We had a meeting of the minds. We get together a couple times a month to talk about the Daily Gun Show. And we all missed Matt's Never Enough Ammo show last night because we were talking about the show and the direction we want to take it and some of the strategies we want to do. And I don't know how many hours we started. I mean, I don't think we got out of there till 2 hours after Matt's show was over before everybody started to have other things to do. So it ended up being a marathon off-air type of chat, though, because by the time you guys had left, I think by then, we were talking. I was looking at Vans, of course, because I look at Vans all the time. And I was trying to explain my concept of like doing the loop that I wanted to do with Bob up to the Red Dawn filming locations and Albuquerque and some reasons why. And I was just, I'm dreaming at this point. There's no way I can do that. But anyhow, that got Smeggy and I trying to remember where it was. We were looking for the scene in Red Dawn up near Las Vegas, New Mexico, where they jump out of where she comes up to the tank in a bicycle and they steal her basket, her picnic basket. They throw it up into the tank and then she runs off and then it blows up the tank and then they get all mad and chase after her and then they pop up out of those hidey holes and take them out. So I really wanted to find that location. And for some reason, do you think that's the same gas station that in the beginning of the movie where they load up in the truck? You guys think that's the same gas station?
I don't know because I don't have the scenes as memorized as you do.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it looked like it was the same one, but
I always thought it was the same one too. After close scrutiny, it ain't. But I thought by finding the gas station, I'd find the place with the spider hidey holes. So anyhow, me and Smeggy were looking around using Google Maps and using all of our internet know-how and sleuthery to discover the clues that we figured out a long time ago to find that location. Anyway, long story short, we found that location. We found where the gas station was, where they load up on their way out of town, and additionally where they get like shot off the road by the tanks and the roadblock, and then they have to pee in the radiator and all that. So we found that stretch of road, and we know where that stretch of road is. We've got confirmation and everything, and we've checked it out on Google Earth and everything, and it is the road. So then Smeggy's a lightweight, and he had to go to NRA show, so he went to sleep or something or passed out, and I was in like bulldog on it. I was finding good data, so I was digging into it, and somewhere around, I think 4 a.m., I found the spot we're looking at right now, which is the ultimate of spots, I think. So now I know this is a picture from Google Earth. So literally I know where to go to the spot where he was standing right there and yells Wolverines.
Generally speaking, where approximately is that spot?
Oh, it's somewhere between Nunya and Business. I spent hours researching that on the internet. It's totally doable. So if you want to know where that is, then put in the work. I found it and there's a picture of it.
Colorado?
By this, Nunya and Business. Nunya is right over here, and Business is right over there.
No,
but,
what state?
I know where it is, and Smeggy.
You're not even going to tell us what state?
I have a Google Earth picture of it, and if you want to verify this with the movie, you'll see the black scar on this rock will help identify this rock face as the actual rock face. I have more confirmation than that, though, because I figured it all out. So I know exactly where this is, and now it's my destiny to find this place. So
Okay.
I need to figure out if it's possible to get Bob down here so that I can go hustle up to here and hold my AK up in the air.
I didn't realize you were gonna present it and then keep it a secret. That's why I kept asking. So
Okay, it's not a secret. It's in the best movie ever made. So number one, there you go. Number two, it took me a couple of hours of figuring it out last night, and I figured it out. So if
That's
you
why
are
I'm
so
autism.
lazy as to not eat and so like unaware of the internet that you need to be handed it, then you came to the wrong place. I ain't handing it out. If
No,
you want
I just
encouragement,
thought somebody that I actually know, who I'm kind of friendly with, if we were in a conversation and they brought it up, naturally would share it with me. But I guess not. I'm asking
Live.
too much.
live in front of all these people, all these yahoos. I don't know who's listening to this. We know how many crazy people listen to this show. I don't want to find a bunch of spray paint out here.
Hey, now you're talking about our audience here, so let's be gentle.
Okay. No, anyway, I'm not telling people where it is. Just like the other rocks that Bob and I found, if you want to find them, we'll tell you how to find them. Go to Tina's in Santa Fe, buy something at her store, tell her we sent you, and she'll tell you where it's at. Or do your own research on the internet. It is literally possible to find. It's not like it's impossible. So I'm just not going to hand it out to people. I want
That's
it to
fine. But I do have a follow-on question. Is there a fan club for the original movie?
I guess so. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, because if there is, I just assumed you would be a member of it.
But that movie, I don't even care that much about that movie. You take it or leave it. Anyway, I'm super stoked. I found this, so now, yeah, I have a new goal in life, and that is to figure out how to get myself up there. And Bob is technically
It was
still
the
here.
world's best movie. Now you can say you can take it or leave it.
Yeah, take it or leave it. So anyway, that's what I discovered overnight. And anyway, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can't con Bob into helping me, so that, because I need somebody standing at the bottom of the hill. It's gonna be really difficult to have the tripod set up down here and then have to hustle up to the top of the hill in 30 seconds or whatever the timer gives me.
Yeah, that might work out. That could be kind of on the way back to Canada. Kind of.
It potentially is between Tucson and Canada. It is potential that it's between those two locations in space.
Yeah.
I don't want to be detailed though.
Yeah, no worries. I think we can do that.
But yeah, that's the scene where they are about to slaughter their parents, I think, or their family, some people from town, and like firing line, and then the Wolverines take, right when the bad guys are about to shoot, the Wolverines take the bad guys out, and everybody gets free, and then they drop a bunch of grenades down into those turrets. So I'm thinking, to truly recreate the movie, we'll open up one of Bob's vents and we'll drop I got some CS grenades. We can drop those CS grenades down in there.
On your life.
We'll see.
I don't want to be smelling tear gas for the next 2 years.
It doesn't last that long.
Yeah, you'll get used to it after a while.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, two out of three people host of this chat have actually experienced the real deal.
Oh, I've been in tear gas clouds.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Bob's he didn't get the name Biker Bob by not getting tear gassed a bunch of times.
Yeah. He was actually a target. We were actually being trained.
Yeah. I just happened to be at a hockey game.
All right. Well, anyway, I didn't want to take too much of a sidetrack, but I'm definitely stoked, and that's kind of crazy, awesome stuff that'll happen overnight. So glad we talk about stuff at the beginning of the show like that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I didn't even know that was a findable place, and I sat there for a while, like freeze framing the movie, and then zigzagging back and forth on Google Earth, which is freaking awesome. So as much crap as we get Google, I use Skynet to figure out where Aardvark stands on top of the hill and yells Wolverine. Like, I didn't even know that was going to be a possible thing. Plus, we found the gas station, so we're going to be able to go to the gas station too. They're about 40 miles from each other. If that helps you.
I think that gas station is still up and operational.
No, the gas station is a good question. That's one of the reasons we couldn't find it originally, is because they built the gas station as just a prop. So it was there for like a couple of weeks during the movie, but people kept pulling up to it because it looked like a gas station. But no, they took it all down when they got rid of the movie, or when they finished the movie.
So probably they filled in the spider holes too.
That was a different place. We still got to find that place. That'll be tougher because it'll be basically having to look at screenshots from the movie and then doing some kind of mathematics with the like the geography of the mountains and on the horizon or something. But we know generally where they filmed most of it. So the other thing is, I'm thinking it's possible that that some of these people are still alive. I might be able to talk to some of the people that were involved in production and get more details about some of that stuff that's tougher to locate.
Good tip.
All right. Well, so I guess with that, we can dig into the show.
Dig.
Our first subject today is in gun stuff, sort of general random category. I don't know where this concept came from, but I like it. Our customer service experiences with different manufacturers. So as owners of firearms, we can go through some of ours. We were hoping that D.B. Cooper was out there. He seems to be the superstar of having customer interactivity with gun companies.
Yeah, both good and bad.
Definitely.
But he definitely seems to purchase guns that seem to have issues. So you never want to buy a used gun from D.B. Cooper.
Well, no, the other way around. He usually has an issue, and either it's a legitimate issue or he's just super picky or what. But you know, he utilizes their offer, their warranties, and sometimes it's been legitimate broken parts or whatever. But sometimes it's just been issues where he's checking them up on a rebuild or whatever, like a replacement. But then he usually sells the gun if he doesn't like the gun. He'll sell it right after he gets it back from the factory. So I hear what you're saying, but honestly, I think buying a used gun from DB, half the time you're getting a gun that just came back from the factory.
Yeah, which
Unfortunate that the new purchases that I've had, I've not had to use the warranty services or anything like that. So I've been fairly lucky, and I've used I'm trying to think manufacturers in general: Smith & Wesson, Colt, Mossberg, Glock, Springfield. Of course, Milsurp, it's hard to say that it really doesn't come with a warranty, so to speak. Got a couple of those. And Walther. And of course, I'm sure G-Webs has more than he could simply list off the top of his head. But been fortunate that everything's come as I expected and worked. Ruger as well. Ruger was the one exception, and it just I thought the issue was more me than the gun, but I couldn't quite figure out what I was doing differently. I was just always shooting, like, regardless of how far I drifted that rear sight, I was always shooting, too far to the left. That was that little SR-22. I think it's SR-22, semi-automatic 22 pistol that they sell. It's pretty popular. And I had a problem with it always shooting to one side, no matter how far I drifted it. So I figured, okay, at some point you have to say, it's not the gun, maybe it's me. Now, I've never had this problem on any gun before. It was not my first, nor any gun since. So I just simply realigned the sights mechanically and sold the gun. Now, I don't know if it was a bent barrel or if it was, again, most likely me.
So you just passed the problem on to someone else?
No, I assumed that the problem was the owner.
Well, you'd want to hope that. Some poor guy gets a gun, he can't shoot it because the barrel's bent.
Right. Well, I mean, I sold it with a warranty. If the person didn't like it. But, and that gets back into, buying new versus used. And there's,
handguns I bought at a gun shop ever was a, I don't know what it was anymore, a Taurus, probably 85 or something, whatever the J Taurus is. And I think I bought it broke, really cheap. And then the guy said, I'm selling it cheap because it's broke, but just send it back to Taurus or something like that. Maybe it just came in. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But for whatever reason, I pretty much bought it and sent it back knowing that it had an issue. And I forget how long it took. I seem to remember it didn't take very much time at all. It didn't cost anything. Then it worked for a long time. Eventually broke again, and I sent it back knowing I could. And came back good to go. And eventually traded that gun off. But I've had like 3 Tauruses that I think I've had to deal with, but over the years. And then one time Smith and Wesson. Whenever I bought the M&P, I don't remember. I think it was like they had a coupon. You got like extra mags or something when you buy one, and whatever they sent me like a 9mm mag for my 45, and I had to deal unsuccessfully with their customer service to try to get it 45 mag instead. But that's really the only experiences I've ever had. I've either gunsmith them myself, or I guess I haven't taken advantage of the warranty services.
So since you purchased a 45 and it was part of the 45 deal, why would they not give you one for 45?
I think it was like you buy the gun and then you send in something, or you register or something, and then they send you the right magazine, and they just sent me the wrong magazine. I didn't order a 9mm, obviously. You know, it's just a mix up in the shipping room, or they're just idiots, I don't know. But they just sent me an M&P 9mm mag instead.
I always had really good luck. I've never had any gun problems in all my years of owning guns. So.
I thought this was going to be a good topic, but maybe it's going to just...
Anybody out there?
You've just been too lucky.
YouTube must be like Bob. They never had any issues. They're not commenting at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you gotta realize this just shows that guns generally are well built.
Well, it is a good point. They kind of figured that stuff out when they first came out, and most of the guns have been around for a while.
Right. I generally shy away from, unless I just am willing to, to roll the dice on it, from something that's not been produced for at least a year. And it's because there's no real world testing than having it out there in the real world.
Oh, you know what?
To find out what works and what doesn't.
I did just think of another 2, I guess. One of them was the MR30. Whenever I bought that one was when like they first came out. Then there was some perceived issue with keyholing. I never encountered it. But anyway, they offered a replacement barrel for anybody who bought one. I think I took them up on that. I did take them up on that. I forget how exactly anymore. But I did get a second barrel for that gun. And they had great customers.
You have to return the old barrel?
No. You just sent it out.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
And then that little zip gun, I never really took them up on it, but I think they were offering some kind of rebuild kits for the SR22 mags before they made the kit. That was a tough company, though. They obviously got real bad feedback right off the bat, so I didn't want to compound their, whatever kind of issues they were having. I knew that it wasn't going to work in that mag. I just dealt with it, so I never really took them up on that.
Well, I mean, but asking for the materials to correct it is different than publicizing, oh, it's a piece of shit. Those are 2 different things.
Yeah.
I mean, because, using an example like Glock, I mean, how many times, especially when the Gen 4s first came out, I want to say in the 9mm frames, did they have to revise the recoil spring assemblies and the, I forget if it was the ejector or what it was, in a couple of times. Is no company puts out nothing but golden eggs.
Uh-oh.
That was initially, I'm not trying to change the subject, but with cell phones, initially you weren't supposed to get like sales calls, cold calls on cell phones. You're supposed to be unlisted, and it's like, I get that crap all the time.
Yeah, that's definitely not an issue anymore.
So, but anyway, I digress.
They need to put a feature in cell phones where as soon as you get a call from one of those places, it just never gets and accepts a call from there again.
Yeah, I wish there was an easier way to literally put it on a block list.
That should be a service of the phone company, really. It's ridiculous. I think when I first got this phone, it let me block numbers, but then it filled, and it's not that much of a thing that I'm going to unfill it, So, yeah, it should be something that's taken care of through the service, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, nobody's really interacting with the show today.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let's broaden the question a little bit. What about accessories or gear for firearms? Have any anyone have any experiences with manufacturers of that sort of thing?
I usually buy most of my stuff used, and if it's used and I'm buying it, I'm going to tug on it or yank on it, or if it had already, somebody else had already tested it, make sure it's not a lemon, right? And I'm just going to look at it, make sure it's not abused, and then I'm buying it. So it's kind of been already vetted by the time I buy it used, usually.
Right. Well, I was just attempting to put a little meat on the bone, but it seems like we're scraping the bottom here.
Yeah.
Other comments from our audience?
Yeah, Moon says that he lets the phone block him. It asks him, and then Raphael's saying don't call.gov or do not call.gov. So it sounds like we should just turn this into a telephone show. Let's talk about telephones every day for a couple hours.
Rockcomber over on YouTube, let me pull his comment back down, said just sent in Performance Center Smith in for customer service on a canted barrel. Now that's something you don't hear about too often, is the barrel being misaligned. I mean, because just simply because there's a lot of strength there, there's a lot of material. It's not easy to bend a barrel, so to speak.
Oh snap! I had to refresh my browser with YouTube. I'd sit there. I only saw 2 comments this whole time. Then I refreshed and saw that people are chatting over there.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that shit was blocked.
It says my 586 iComp had a canted barrel as well, although it's very minimal compared to the R8. And then let's see, Clin time. But I can say I didn't like the way the M&P slide went home when you loaded a full magazine. Gun ran fine, but I sold it. Yeah, you have to. I think that one thing, especially when it comes to whether it's personal protection, home protection, carry, whatever, is if you don't have confidence in in those sorts of roles in your firearm, although technically it may be fine, sometimes it's good just to sell it off and get something else for something you have confidence in.
Now I know that guy's night striking you by having a Y in time, but I'm pretty sure that's killing time.
Killing time, yeah.
Okay.
Flying time, killing time.
So yeah, I guess we are getting.
It was the comment that I was interested in.
I'm gonna go refresh Gun Channel, see if I'm blocked all over. Maybe I got blockages today. Nope. Yeah, just YouTube's outperforming Gun Channels today.
I guess so.
It just got here. Why you want to port the barrel? Nobody's porting no barrels.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so that was our interaction or our discussion for a while there on
customer service experiences.
With we probably touch on that again with Z and Smeggy more, but we'll move along. So next we'll be talking about training. There's some different 50 shot, like 1 box of ammo type of drills that are out there. Dano, you're killing us with that echo. We need to get Dano a new mic. So we have a Patreon account, and we don't make a lot of money. We're basically paying for shipping and some of the hosting. But at some point, we're going to buy Dano a microphone. They're about $40. So
sorry about that. I tried to flick it off manually every time, and sometimes I forget.
Yeah, no worries. But before we head into that second segment of the day and talking about training targets, we're going to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. I think he's still over there. Today we're featuring TacDaddy, who's been around Gun Channels basically since he's been on YouTube way before we even started the Gun Channels thing. So he's been around since pretty much the beginning. He is one of the few people who are creating content on a very regular basis, and I think he's doing content creation for a living. I'm pretty sure. So he really utilizes all the potential that we have over at Gun Channel. So I guess what I'll do is actually take us on a tour of TacDaddy on Gun Channels. I think we have that technology.
Just talking about TacDaddy for a minute while you're getting that ready, is he was kind enough to come on a couple of months ago, and I can't remember whether it was within our show or not, but I want to say it was, and talk about using social media in regards to YouTube and trying to promote your YouTube channel to become something bigger than it currently is. And was a very interesting conversation, and I think especially for people that are starting at ground zero, it's like, well, gee, there's all these things out there, all these pieces. How do I connect them, and how do I get them to actually self-promote what I'm trying to do, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on both, and then try to not have to go to each one of these independently, where I can, if I post this, like a website that I learned of just the other day was where if you post a YouTube video, you can have some software automatically send a message out to your Facebook page, letting those that follow you over on Facebook that hey, there's a new video over here. I mean, that's just an example, but the same thing can be done with Twitter. The same thing can be done with a number of different other social media applications that are out there. And it's very helpful rather than trying to go, okay, I have to manually go over to Facebook. No, you don't have to do it unless you want to.
That's a good point. And when you're talking about like mastering multiple platforms, I think TAC is a great example. So I'm going through the slideshow of the various shows, the live shows here on Gun Channels. Just on the main page when you log in. Gun News Weekly is the name of TAC's channel. Oops, I think I missed it. Gun News Weekly is the name of his podcast and the channel over here on Gun Channels. But like Dan was saying, TAC does stuff on all the major platforms, and he is aware and utilizes the potential of them. So he's got his stuff branded with his Gun News Weekly. He's got some adverts going and some links to various projects that he's got going. And because he does it on the regular, we give him a chat room, of course, so he can, anytime somebody's over there and might have a question or whatever, he can address it. And then, of course, he's got some, whatever you want to call branding or marketing on there as well. And that's a great illustration of the way that Gun Channels is set up. You can take it as far as you want to. So if you have any questions on setting some of that stuff up, there's a lot of moderators on Gun Channels that can help you out. I'm sure you could talk to TacDaddy as well. He's also, one of the reasons we talked about him again last week is because he's been doing some behind the scenes types of videos when he's editing. So kind of turns the screen capture on so you can see what he's doing on his computer. And as he's editing videos for his YouTube channel, he's explaining what he's doing and how, and some of the theories behind it. So I suspect that he'd be more than happy to explain some of the ways that he's creating some of the artwork and how he links them and that kind of thing. Because all of that can be very creative, means there's different ways to do it, different strategies, different goals, and that kind of thing. So anyway, it's one of the reasons we built Gun Channels, so people that are out there doing their thing have a place to do it, and it encourages people that are considering it to try it out as well. And of course, it gives people that are just enjoying watching it or listening to it a place to find it. Like Dan was saying, when you've got stuff going on multiple platforms, Gun Channels can help to concentrate it all in one place, or give you one place to post it all.
Yeah, and whether you have an online store or you have a brick and mortar store, he's a good example of he has an online store of using YouTube as well as the other social media devices for free marketing, literally free marketing, to help drive people, and eyes and keyboards to his online store. And he's not the only example of people that do that. Because it is free. Example, Tactical Response. James Yeager puts videos out there for the sole purpose of marketing his services that he offers. And again, this is not an exception. This is a very common thing. Why would you not use free marketing?
We're capitalists, so we built the place. All right, so that's a great example of one of the members over there. Every day we feature one of the members, and we encourage anybody that might be listening to the show that hasn't already checked out Gun Channels, check it out. It's a lot like like being at the range or being at a gun show, gun shop, I guess, being at a gun show potentially, where you're just kind of standing around shooting the breeze with some of your shooting friends, people you might meet, once a week or something, or once every couple of weeks, or once a month or something when you're at the range, maybe even less often or more often than that. And the topics are just like you'd find at the gun shop or at the gun show. It's going to be a little bit of what are you buying, what's next, what are you collecting, what are you saving up for, and then where are you going hunting, and where are you going shooting, and then a little bit of what are you eating for dinner or something like that. So how are the kids doing? So it's a pretty cool place. Yeah, feel free to check it out. We'll dig into the training segment of the show then, and topic today is best 50-shot target drills. So 50 rounds, 50 cartridges in a box. $50, or not $50, but the amount of money you're spending there. It's been a pretty good way to package some what's the word? Some practice, or some I keep saying rehearsal, but that's not the word. Practicing your skills, honing your skills. It's a way to do an exercise to go through some of the exercises, I guess, that you would have learned at a training class, or may have developed over the years. Have you guys used any of these?
I've used them, back in what I call the ammo crisis of, 2013 or 20. I used them when I had some ammunition, but I didn't want to necessarily, dig down into my reserves, or at least I wasn't ready to yet. And that's where I used them, and I found them very, very helpful to use. Just simply, if I could find one box of ammunition, go to the range, and at least keep my skills from dropping. At least maintain them the way they were. I think it's an excellent tool, those sorts of exercises. And I've seen a couple different variations of it. And I all think that they work, well, some more so than others, but depending on what you're looking to bone up on or to maintain.
You ever use any things like these, Bob?
I'm terrible about doing any kind of target drills or anything like that. I just go out and shoot at a target, and that's about it.
A guy that feels he already knows all he needs to know, so he doesn't need to go train with anybody.
Well, it's going to be one of those things where it gets on people's nerves, I'm sure, because when you hear people go blah, 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 training or whatever, if it's nothing you've been interested in or nothing you've experienced, then you're not going to get it. You're not going to understand why people are like foaming at the mouth talking about it all the time. But as you experience it and you understand it a little bit, or at least you're not adverse to the concept, you basically, you're just taking the elements or the pieces of the components of a gunfight or of a lethal force incident, and breaking it down into the very simplest of parts, which are, as you might expect, to be very simple. They're basically just sight picture and draw, and a little bit of having your wits about you. So when you go to a class, and it's even as few as a couple of hours, or even more so when you go to a class for a couple of days, and you're immersed in the curriculum and the experience of being out in a range for a few days. Think about how very few people actually go out and spend 2 full days at a range. And then even if you do, for some reason, get a vacation like that a couple of times a year, or if you have your own property or something, so that's not so much of an experience for you. Typically being on a range for a few days with other people, like-minded individuals who are there with a purpose, and again, engaging in some kind of curriculum, it's an experience that's bonding. And there's some aspect of it that you want to, you get so psyched, you want to share that. And because most people go into it expecting, and even more so now with the internet, it was a little bit different back in the day. I went to these things going like, I wonder what this is going to be about. I assume most people go into it now going, I'm afraid it's going to be about my worst, expectations or whatever. So I'm sure people have a little bit different experience, but from the results of people going to classes for the first time or to experience training like that, most people come out of it with a smile on their face, and again, this like urge to share the information. And again, most of the curriculum, the information, the content of the class is typically bundled in a way that it's a bunch of individual drills or exercises or something to reinforce a technique, or to exercise something like a second follow-up shot, or like a draw, or like a quick and efficient acquisition of sights or something. So the drills that you learn are designed to be used on the range in practice and taught to other people. So there's that incentive as well. You just experience a day or two of time on the range where you're learning a bunch of drills that you can't wait to go show your friends or your family, or just to, go shoot them yourself and get better, see what you do, keep practicing, test it out again and see how much improvement you get. So once you get a bit of a guidance and a little bit of, going from chaos to a little bit of organization, there's definitely some of that aspect that comes out when we get excited about training classes. So with all that in mind, what we're talking about is this concept of taking 50 rounds or a box of ammo to the range. And if it's something like you go to the range each week to maintain your skill set, or you're practicing to improve your skills, like you feel like you are lacking in skills, so you're literally trying to improve, or you're at a level that you're satisfied, but you want to maintain them, right? You want to do something that isn't just shooting for the sake of shooting, but shooting with some sort of a gauge so that you can evaluate it and compare it to other sessions at the range. So there's a couple of drills that have been set up so that you can use one box of ammo to do all of that. So you get some reinforcement. I think that's what I was trying to say before. Reinforcement of your skills, and you get some way to gauge and measure with a score yourself against yourself. So as time goes on, you can tell if you can use some of these drills as a way to determine if your skills are sharp, as well as just honing your skills all the time. I think the best one that I've seen so far, except for my own, is this one called the dot torture drill. And I don't know why they wrote TDA in it, because I've never seen that before. But I'm sure you guys have heard of the dot torture.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure we started talking about it a long time ago, and I think it's much more common now. So it's basically just 10 circles on a piece of paper. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that anybody could just go to the internet and print it, right? And then you have a copy of it and take it to a copy place, or just print it off a bunch of times at work or school or something, so you don't have to pay for it. And then you have these targets, and I don't know if this will zoom in or what. Yeah, it won't really zoom. So try to zoom on this. Whenever you open in a new window, you're just looking at the image and not all the website around it, so you can usually zoom in a little easier. It's not a great copy of this one, so I don't know how well you can read it, but the first circle says 2 pairs slow fire, double action, single action, double action, single action. So basically it's saying shoot this thing twice, slow as you want. So 2 pairs, I should say. So you're going to end up with 4 bullets in this first square. So that's 4 bullets out of your 50, and that was the first exercise, just to put 4 slow, deliberate rounds into here. And that's, I guess, to give you some chance to calm yourself and get some good shot placement. The next one says draw, 1 shot, double action, and you do that 4 times. So you're going to end up with the same 4 shots in this circle, ideally, but instead of being bang with double action and then bang with single action, assuming you're using some kind of ridiculous gun that's double action, single action, obviously you ignore that if you have a relevant striker fire. But you know, when you're crippling yourself with a double action, single action, you need that kind of practice. So you're going to pull it up, shoot double action, then once the hammer's back and you have to force to your body that your first shot's going to be long and deliberate and your second shot is basically hair trigger, that's to experience that a couple of times to get started. Again, you can ignore all that with striker fire because you're above all that. Now you get down to this one and you're going to draw 1 double action shot. So now you're just going to experience the draw if you can from your holster, or if you can't from just the table at the range, depending on your range rules. But now you're going to draw and shoot, draw and shoot. It doesn't say super fast, so it's up to you how fast you want to do it. Some people will time a dot drill, but typically it's made to enforce skills more than speed or anything. So you're going to give yourself a deliberate draw and shoot. So you're using this to acquire sights and to practice trigger with an actual recoil. And again, if you got striker fire, just do it. If you're ridiculous double action, single action, then don't shoot it single action. Just force yourself to shoot double action each time, because that's a skill you're going to need to have. So now they're going to use these 2 next circles in cooperation with each other. So you're going to draw, and then they want you to do 1 double action shot on this circle, number 3, and then that single action follow up on number 4 if you're using that horrible type of gun. So now with a striker fire, of course, you're going to draw and shoot and then shoot. So now you're going to get the concept of moving targets and acquiring a sight picture twice. This could be 2 targets, or this could be somebody moving around. Who knows, right? So now you're going to draw, shoot, and shoot. Draw, shoot, and shoot. And you're going to do that 4 times. So now you're going to have 4 holes in each of these targets. So now you're up to 16 rounds out of that 50. But you've incorporated, strong hand, slow fire, you've double shots basically, or non-timed pairs, and then you're going to experience a draw and fire 4 times, and now your draw, fire, reacquire target, fire, draw, fire, reacquire target, and fire, and draw and fire again. So you're giving yourself some different skills each time. Next, you get down to here. I don't know if I need to go through the whole thing. You're going to go through though and do different skills like that, different sets of exercises, I guess, until you get to the end, and that's 50 rounds. And some of this might need to be modified. Again, if it says draw and your range doesn't allow you to draw from the holster, then maybe you just have the gun sitting on the table and you're going to draw with dry fire somewhere else. Or if maybe you can't do double up shots and it wants you to shoot 2 in a row, obviously pace it down so that you're not going to get in trouble at the range. But there are other ones. When we were doing this one, it was neat, and well, we all shoot striker fire, so this definitely has some aspect of it for again, people using double action, single actions. So there are other ones out there without, you know, we're not selling you them, so I'm not going to go out and find them all for you. But there's some that are as simple as something like this, or you've seen the playing cards or the bottles or the old cans or something, and you can yourself, or some of them are just shapes, and you can make something like this out of a piece of paper and just do like a dark colored shape, a light colored triangle, maybe a dark colored triangle. You know, just come up with some different colors and shape combos, different sizes, and then if you want to throw numbers on them or stripes or something, one way to do it quickly is to create a little dice, any piece of wood that has 6 sides, or even any number of sides. I suppose if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, you can go grab any shaped dice and then roll a dice, and if it says shoot 3, then shoot 3. You can do it even crazier, and if it rolls 8, then you can hit a 5 and a 3, or 2 4s. You know, so you can, if you have somebody with you, you can definitely get some use out of 50 rounds. We ended up, I don't have it online anymore because a lot of the stuff's fallen apart from what we used to build back in the day. But when we started going to training classes and really got excited about this concept of making the most effective use out of 50 rounds, and we were doing carbine and handgun stuff, so we wanted to incorporate some rifle into it, and we had all the room in the world for, just because we were out in the desert. We came up with a pretty cool way of using 50 rounds of rifle, and I think it was not 50, something less, of pistol, and it involved moving from like the 25 to the 10, from the 10 to the 15, from the 15 to the 5. So there was a little bit of kneeling. We started out prone. No, we started out supine, where you're laying down with your feet towards the target and you're kind of shooting as if you just got knocked out or something, or you were coming on, in an adverse situation where you had to come up off the ground. A couple of shots from that supine position at multiple targets. Then I think it was coming up to the knees. Maybe it was going from supine to the knees. I don't know. We tried to get it a little bit more high speed because we wanted to get some physical aspect to it. And then, you know, a little bit of walking back and forth from the different firing lines. And then once we got up close, transition to pistol, rifle to pistol, that kind of thing. So we were trying to combine elements of the various classes we'd taken, some of the things that we knew we were bad on, we were weak on. So I think this concept is sound, and I'd really like to see it be a thing that gets shared around a little bit more. The dot drill is cool, but as you see, it's very double action, single action centric, and it doesn't need to be. Not very many people carry around archaic guns like that anymore, and those people that do don't train because they think they already figured it all out. So I think it's one of those things that people are creative, and we're going to see if this becomes something that people dig into a little bit. I think we'd see all kinds of interesting ways to make 50 rounds really effective.
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, whether it was, you know, during the times of where we had ammunition shortages, you know, regardless of what the money had, or if you're just, you know, short on cash, and a box is what you can do, that you can make this very effective and help, as a bare minimum, maintain the skills you have, and then slowly try to mix it up to maybe bump it up a little.
Well, how much
over
is that
time.
class you're going to be taking? A 2-day class, right?
Yeah, the class itself is $550.
So you're talking a significant amount. Now, of course, there's travel, and then there's lodging, and then there's food.
Yep.
And then, of course, you're not at work for a couple of days. So there's quite a bit more cost to it than that. But if we just use the 500 because it's easy to think about, and we got 50 round boxes, you take that class once a year. You know, if you're wealthy enough, you take it once a lifetime, potentially, maybe once every so often, somewhere in between. But what does it really take to take a box of 50 rounds to the range and give yourself that once a month. And what are we talking? A box of ammo costs? I don't know what it cost you more bottle ammo a long time ago. $20 or something for a box of ammo.
Something
Depends
is
on what
far
you
better
shoot,
than nothing.
but yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking $20 times 12 months. So you're talking half the price of your actual instruction in order to keep your skills up, and it gets you to the range, which gets you out talking to other shooters and gets you understanding your gun in different situations. You know, for me at least, shooting in winter, shooting in summer, it's a little bit different. So I'm guessing people that have winters and stuff, it's gonna be the same way. If you are shooting once a month,
Most classes require you to bring a fair amount of ammunition. So having to bring 500 to 1,000 rounds is not uncommon.
well, sure, but we're talking about this concept of going to the range once a month with 50 rounds. It's basically
Right. I'm just doing the cost comparison part as compared to
compared to the actual instruction, it's negligible. I mean, you're literally shooting 4 times more ammo than you're going to shoot in that whole year at that range, at that class, right? Probably
50 times 12 would be what, 600?
600 rounds.
Yeah.
And if you're shooting, well, okay, maybe not 4 times, but double potentially what you're shooting.
Oh, yeah, truly. And let's be honest, is that for, caliber specific? Like, would you do that same, like, for example, G, would you do it with 45 and 357 since those are your two normal methods of carry?
No, I'm not going to shoot 50 rounds of 357 out of a small revolver. I mean, I guess probably somebody could, but I don't have that kind of stamina.
Okay. Would you do 38s out of it?
Probably not. I'll shoot out of like good guys, giant 57, but not out of my little gun.
I gotcha.
Generally speaking, small guns that are great for carry aren't necessarily great for shooting hundreds of rounds out of.
Honestly, even tens of rounds out of, yeah. Now, shooting a 50-round target like that, draw out of my pocket as opposed to out of my belt once in a while, sure. But not a whole 50, at least not for me. I don't have that kind of money either. I don't know how much 357 for 50 rounds of 357 costs for you, but they buy them in boxes at 20 or 25. I guess I could buy bulk, but I don't have the money to buy that. It doesn't matter. This is all mute. I haven't shot at the range. I can't remember last time I shot at the range. But we're talking about other people. We're spending other people's money and time.
Right. Well, all I was trying to get at is that sometimes it's gonna be one box of 50, and then there's gonna be other times where it could quite possibly maybe you do your 8 whatever.
Yeah, like you're going to go out for a longer day or something, and you might shoot those drills with 3 different guns, yeah. Or maybe shoot
Right.
9mm just to see what it's like, or somebody's 45 or something, just because that would be a way to take yourself through a new gun, a new caliber, a new holster, anything. It's a way to take you through it in a deliberate way instead of just, I'm going to shoot 5 rounds off into the hill.
Well, and honestly, you get a chance to actually see whether it's productive or practical.
Right. Yeah. If you think it's a great gun and it's super ergonomic, you take it to the range, you try to do one of those 50-shot targets out of it, and you made it, like you hit everywhere but the dots, then that might be a quick way to figure out, this gun's going to take some time to either master or understand. Oh my goodness. So we've got definitely some blowback coming from the insight on double action, single action. So I'm just doing a service, public service. Double action, single action will kill you. There's no point in having that. Not that it needs to be banned, but as a group of people, we should stop using it.
Oh my. That's kind of rough.
It doesn't need to exist.
Kind of rough, just a little bit. The freedom to choose is also the freedom to put that into your own hands, right?
I believe what you meant to say was the freedom to choose is the freedom to lose. So keep that in mind.
Well, you can also choose to be wrong, but I'm not saying that you are.
Making that into a shirt. Freedom to choose and freedom to lose. And then comma, be a winner.
Nice.
Double action
I
only.
think he's implying.
Anyway, so now that we've divided the audience, that's always a good rule of thumb when you're talking about targets. Divide your audience in half and alienate half of them. Maybe more. I know there's no way that half of our audience shoots single action, double action, single.
Apparently,
This
I
is
was muted the whole time.
No.
All right, how's that? People can actually hear me now? It's time, once again, for the tactical. I was weak. Something like that. Anyway, pop quiz of the day. So put your cursors down in the text box, limber up your fingers over on YouTube and on gun channels. Who would like to be my expert assistant today? And we got volunteers just jumping for joy. Okay.
I forgot to email Smeggy. I was emailing Smeggy. Bob's outside with the dog, it looks like. Z wasn't interested, so I guess I'm doing it.
Okay. We have a 3-part answer. That's a little bit of a tip there. And G, you see in the side notes, kind of what we're looking for there. And it was sent in by Hori, so thank you for sending that question in. And what I'm basically looking for before I read the question is a what, a where, and a who. That's what you got to put in your answer, all on one line. No separating it out, all on one line. Okay? What, where, and who. So the question is, and I'll read it twice. What was the Black Tom explosion? Again, what was the Black Tom explosion?
Race war in LA.
No.
Interesting question. I don't think I would have ever asked this question.
What, where, and who?
An explosion in New Jersey during World War I.
What, where, and who? I think we now have a what and a where, but we don't necessarily have a who.
We got a who with Chris over there. The Black Tom explosion, July 30th, 1916 in New Jersey, an act of sabotage by German agents.
Yes, excellent. Congratulations, Chris. You nailed it. Yes, indeed. It was, Top Black explosion was a munition dump in New Jersey City, New Jersey, by German spies during World War II. July 1930, 1916, New Jersey City, New Jersey, an act of sabotage by German agents to destroy American-made munitions. So, congratulations, Chris, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Head on over to dailygunshow.com/pop-quiz. Fill out the form, put your first and second choice, and congratulations, you are today's tactical pop quiz winner.
Congratulations, Chris.
Z is currently having some technical issues. We'll wait.
Do it.
Because it's well worth the wait, I think. It's almost as good as the win.
Do you think that people record Z's proclamation each day and then they take and edit all those together to be like an audible charm bracelet of wins?
I think they probably turn them into ringtones on their phone.
You know, record it, put it in an endless loop.
Help their babies go to sleep that way.
So when he's not here, we can just play it on his behalf.
All right. Well, that one came in from Ori, right? Did you mention that?
Yep. We mentioned that at the very beginning. For those of you that were paying attention, thank you, Ori, for sending that in. And if you have something to send in, send it to dailygunshow@gmail.com.
All right. With that, I think we will. I'm not going to quit waiting for Z. I think he's having some issues right there. Are you back, Z?
Go ahead. Chris knows he's a winner.
Well, I'll just say it. That makes you the tactical pop quiz winner of the day.
Oh my goodness. That's the Canadian version right there.
That was, I knew mine was one off, but that was like off the scale.
Oh my goodness. All right. So here we go. We're going into the next segment of the show, which is shooting events. But before we do, we want to talk about how we keep the show going, how we can pay for that hosting, pay for the postage that's the shipping that's going out, and ideally take the show to another level. We really want to do some things. Like I say, we probably talked for 3 or 4 hours last night about ideas, and we are not supported by any kind of manufacturers or distributors or anybody selling anything except for ourselves, I guess. And we've got some patches over here at gearwebsites.com. It's our online store. So if you do want to pick something up, everything you buy there goes towards keeping our various projects online. So we do appreciate it. And I'll throw the link out there for anybody that's listening, but we have a link in our show notes, pretty much everything we do. That's our major income source. And of course, I'm eyeballing another van. I can't help it. I don't like living in one spot. I really want to try getting out on the road. So, maybe if, oh shit, it's ending right now. I was going to say, maybe if enough people bought stuff off the store right now, I could literally go over to the van pound in town here and get another van. At least there's what I've been looking at, but now I'm going to take a second. 54 minutes left. It's at $2,500. So it's, if someone were to buy $2,500 worth of stuff off the store, I could put in a bid.
But speaking of financial things, I would like to thank our Patreon supporters out there. And I would like to encourage those of you out there that would like to see this show continue on in the future to please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. And also, those of you listening to the Daily Gun Show on YouTube, if you are listening, whether it be live or listening later, please take a moment and click on subscribe. We get enough subscribers. That's another possibility of helping the show go forward into the future. So please take a moment and do that if you haven't done so already. So thank you. And let's move on with the show.
Now I wonder if Z is back and just refuses to participate because of what Bob did to him, or if he's having just connection issues.
Hey, it's not my fault. Probably having a tornado or a shark ate the landline or something.
I'm sure he'll say something as soon as he's able to.
Because, apparently sharks will chew up those telephone cables, and next thing you know, that whole island's isolated.
The worst part is that they'll chew those cables, and then the island will just float all around because it won't be tethered anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So
he could end up.
We don't know where he is at some point. He'll just be in the, probably like when you get a bunch of stuff floating around in a pool, just kind of float to a corner of the ocean somewhere. Take us forever to find him.
Well, apparently there's some spot in the middle of the ocean where all the currents come together. That's where all the plastic and crap all goes to. That's probably where the island would end up. Floating in amongst all the garbage.
All right. I've been using this time. Isn't it amazing when Bob is actually clear? This is the content we get from him. When it's something interesting about guns, it's all garbled and, talking about garbage in the ocean. No problem. Crystal clear.
Exactly.
All right. So I've been using this time that Bob's been going on and on about the garbage islands to look and see if anybody at the NRA show is online, and they're not, because they're all having fun at the NRA show, probably whooping it up, lording it over us that we ain't there. So I don't know what we're supposed to talk about shooting events on Thursdays. So I guess I'm gonna head over to Gun Channels and check out what we got going on in the calendar over there. Kind of seems like we got Z back again, but
no, until he speaks.
I wonder if he knows he's not, you know what I mean? Like maybe he is saying stuff and just doesn't do it.
If you can hear us, Z, we cannot hear you.
So we're talking about shooting events, as we talk about on Thursdays every week, and we've got a calendar over at Gun Channels. You can access it by heading up to the top of any page on Gun Channels, heading down to resources until you get to Firearms Calendar. That'll open up a calendar of events, and any member of Gun Channels can go right here and say create new event. When you do, it goes to the calendar, of course, and then anybody on the main page of Gun Channels, member or not, is going to see this summary of the upcoming events, and that's what we talk about on Thursdays. So if you want to be part of this segment of the show, if you're affiliated with one event, or you just like to attend, or you'd like to see an event, kick off in a big way, or just see a lot more ladies at these events, then you're definitely going to want to post it on gun channels so that all of those things will happen. So let's see. The first thing we have happening is, like we said, the NRA annual meeting and exhibits is today. Or wait, yeah, it's actually happened already, right? It's Friday. No, today's Thursday.
Yes, I was kind of hoping that we might get them in for maybe 10 minutes or so, but
they don't care about our live show. They're all having fun at the NRA show, probably getting all kinds of free stuff and whooping it up.
Yeah.
But it is pretty fun. We talked about it a little bit before. It's any member of the NRA can head there and enjoy checking out all kinds of booths full of manufacturers' products. So the same products they would take to a trade show to sell to retailers or to stores or to manufacturers or to the military. Those same booths, that same equipment, almost always the same human beings, the same employees of those companies, sometimes the owners and stuff, will all go to a giant convention center. This year it's in Atlanta, and set up. And I don't need to post pictures of it. Everybody knows what it is. But that's happening this weekend. Next weekend, or wait, is it next weekend? June 2nd. In about a month, back in Atlanta, there will be the Blade Show, which is, from what I understand, about the size of a big gun show. Not the huge, not a giant gun show, just a large gun show. And it's all the blade manufacturers and designers and individual bladesmiths will show up, and a lot of enthusiasts. And I think that show's growing and growing every year. It's been going on for a long, long time. The next thing will be Outdoor Retailer in July. That's basically a SHOT Show type of trade show, except instead of for gun shops, it's for sporting goods stores. So instead of having guns and hunting, it's more backpacks and boots and camping equipment, kayaks and hiking sticks and stuff for your dog. So it's a pretty cool event if you're just interested in going to it, or if you're creating content. It's a great event, especially now that gun-related content is becoming tougher to monetize. Might be something to explore. There's a lot of manufacturers out there creating products and services for the recreational industry. TriggerCon is coming up in July, and I didn't remember what it was last time, and I still don't remember what it is, but it's an event that's coming up. We got the Ohio Cartridge Show, which I'm guessing is in Ohio. That's a gun show that's just for cartridge collectors. I put a bunch of those in here because I really was hoping to get into cartridge collecting, but that is definitely not a priority anymore for me. So I'm hoping other people who are interested in collecting cartridges, though, do come to gun channels and hang out. I think it's an interesting aspect of firearms collecting. So I had these in here when I planned on attending them. But that's an example of a specific type of event or show that you might want to post. I noticed that we have a complete lack of the bullpup shoots in here. There's at least a couple of shoots that are specific to bullpups that happen throughout the year. We're missing the the fast shoot in Oklahoma. So there's definitely some gaps in the schedule. And as you see, we're already up into October, which is months and months away. We're at Knob Creek, which happens twice a year, the Tulsa Gun Show, which happens twice a year. So if you'd like to add events that you're either participating in or trying to help move or get more information about, then post them into the calendar, and we'll talk about them on Thursdays.
Out on the gun channel side in regards to Pink being at the show and who's going to start the lobby. And for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and start an unmoderated lobby after this show ends.
Okay, so you're going to public lobby when you head off, and then allow the guys who are at NRA to jump into it. That'll be cool.
Yep.
Thanks for that. Yeah, it's tougher when you're on the road to actually have a laptop running somewhere with a Hangout on it. We also have Rick out there who should be starting the show tomorrow. So hopefully people will be able to jump in that are at NRA, literally walking around on the floor while Rick is live. So that should be pretty cool.
So yeah, if you're looking for the regular Pink lobby, just once I leave this show, give me about 15 minutes and I'll have a lobby up there.
I keep thinking it's Friday. That would be Saturday that Rick is doing that show. Are you heading off to your other 9 to 5 after this, Dano?
I was, but I'm going to, because he's having problems, I'm going to push that back a little bit for tonight.
Oh, okay, awesome. So thanks for doing that. course, we have Matt's show coming up, Never Enough Ammo. He was going to have, today it's Wednesday or Thursday? What am I thinking?
Thursday.
I think it's Wednesday. So it's Thursday. So there's no. That
It's Wednesday.
Later on, I'll be doing the AK-47
Thursday.
that means. And special, exciting episode of the AK-47 podcast because I found the rocks that Aardvark stands on and yells Wolverines on. So
now, any teasers as to if you listen, you might get another tease as to where it might be?
Here, I'll let everyone know 100%. I'm never telling anybody. I'll tell Bob and I'll tell Smeggy because they helped me find it, and Bob will help me take a picture there. But all the rest of y'all can go figure it out for yourselves. It's not hidden. It's just hard to find. And there's no satisfaction at all in finding something like that just given to you. At least if you do have satisfaction, then now I think less of you. Go find it for yourself. It's way more fun to find it for yourself. And I don't want a bunch of spray paint on there. And if I just say it on the internet, you know how many millions of people listen to stuff we say on the internet? I don't want a bunch of yahoos going out there and spray painting a bunch of stupid crap on my.
That's right.
I guess everyone technically owns the rocks that Red Dawn was filmed on.
I'll be completely unsatisfied.
I can just imagine you finally get there after years, and then all of a sudden you get there and you see G-Web was here, and you say, bullshit.
It says 9mm rules, fool.
What are y'all
Then you'll be really pissed.
What's this meanness out of nowhere? I feel
wow, that gave me.
attacked personally. All right, so try to keep.
Oh, you can actually hear me now?
Yes.
You're in as soon as you started being mean to me, all of a sudden, loud and clear.
Oh, well, see, I had to try everything in the book,
I can hear
G.
you now,
I'm sorry.
Right on. Well, it worked. So now we got echo from Dano because you won't mute it.
Sorry about that.
Why we don't get any new listeners because they don't like our production values. Positive, that's what it is. That's what I spent 3 hours just yelling at these guys about production values. All right, so that'll take us to Gun Channel story time, I think. So, what today? Maybe some peppermint hot chocolate.
Dude, we need the romper room theme when she would come in and get all of the rambunctious kids to sit down. Like, that's the segue we need for this segment. Just saying. Oh, and I cannot have any feed from YouTube or
Mr.
Gun
Rogers.
Channels actually right now.
Mr. Rod.
I think I got a storm coming.
So when a storm hits, does the island bounce around so much you kind of lose your internet?
Today, and Olivia Joy had a special day on Sunday, and I see Robin had a special day yesterday, and Dana's having a special day today, and so is Reginald.
Is that what you're talking about?
Dude, that is how we need to do the Gun Channel's member of the motherfucking day, yo.
So Matt does that all the time on his chat. I don't think he's ever seen Romper Room though, so he doesn't know what I was talking about when I told him he sounded like Romper Room. But damn, you're killing me.
Well, sorry.
You can't even mute him. You guys know what it's like when you get your own voice coming right back in your head like a moment later.
Yes.
We were going to talk about Gun Channel story time. So once a week, we like to reminisce about and reflect back on some of the, what do we call these things? Like running jokes? There's got to be a better way of saying it.
Well, you know, whether it's inside jokes or something, anecdotal stories of things that have happened or been said on Gun Channels.
Yes.
Anecdotal being the very most important part of that whole statement.
No, I don't think this one is the most epic. I think Corky is the most.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I agree with you, G. It's definitely not the most epic of stories that we've had here, but it's something that predated Gun Channels, actually. That's how long this story has been going on. It predated Gun Channels. It started on Block TV.
Yes.
Well, some of them are funny, and some of them, of course, are heartbreaking, like when Dano lost people their jobs and their families went on the streets. But
store number.
This one,
They have not gotten to that yet.
I don't think we did store number ever yet.
Oh, we haven't yet.
We were going to do store number, but
That was
Giving it away.
all right. So anyway, we're talking about the Mosin Saga, which I think you could also call the Zombie Master Ed, or you could call it the Nagant situation. I don't know how to. There's probably multiple ways to refer to it.
That's
And
that
like,
JB Weld.
right,
Weld
this ain't
extraordinaire.
this ain't working when Bob comes in and tries to say something on his crazy robot echo, and then Dano's echoing. We're getting big dead spots there. So I'm finding as when we
How
started.
about that, baby?
No, you should just stay quiet, Bob. That's okay.
So I'm finding that we came up with this idea, and I think the idea is sound, but every time we actually start to do one of these, I don't actually remember any of the details. These things happened a long, 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 long time ago. So we're going to need some help from everybody watching, I think, and you guys can. Was everybody around for this whole thing when it first started on Matt's channel?
It started on Matt's chat. And when I say Matt's chat, I'm talking about Blog TV, where he's the only guy talking and everybody else is in the external chat, and your moniker, your avatar had a different color than just about everybody else's. And it was almost like when he does his Sunday chat now, like that's the format, right? And so here's the thing, however many people he had listening to him, like sometimes the chat is having its own conversation, right? Like sometimes these days, the external chat will have its own conversation, or it'll be self-supportive. You know what I mean? Like it generates its own conversation, maybe not relevant to the topic that the host is working on, right? So, and I mean, I know I was there under Your Mouthwash Ain't Cutting It. I know you were there, G. I know Yankee was there, and I'm trying to think of who else that I know for sure was there. And I know that there's still a few hardcore gun channels members that were there for this type of stuff. But it was literally just a guy talking, asking questions originally about Mosin Nagant modifications, right? But the way it worked was this person had ended up taking his Mosin to someone to get it worked on, and they weren't quite. I don't know if I would say they were bubble modifications as much as they were almost like tactical modifications. And
So first off, he's an idiot. This guy was weird, and he was.
well,
odd.
I'm not throwing any stones at anybody like that yet. It hasn't even gotten weird yet.
Well, no, yeah, we want to get into the weirdness, but I'm just saying he's an idiot because he did trade an AR-15 for modifications to a Mosin. So he gave an AR-15 to pay for modifications to a Mosin, and the modifications ended up being ridiculous. But even if they would have come out perfect, it would have been a crazy exchange.
Well, and here's the other thing, G.
There's
ARs were not cheap to make like they are now. No, it's like
even
12
now,
maybe, or 11.
Even now, that's a ridiculous
trade.
Oh,
no, I agree. 100% I agree. But I'm just saying, as cheap as it is to make now, it wasn't as cheap to do back then.
Well, of course not. And this was that's what I'm saying. This was sketchy to begin with. So there's no even way of knowing if any of this is legit. It was just a bunch of stuff that happened, like you're saying, in Blog TV chat rooms.
So here's the thing: you're getting all this information through the chat, actually, through this particular person. So, you know, there's no connotation to see if he's smiling, to see if he's pulling our leg, because here's what started happening.
By then, we knew he was literally just being Ed. So it'd be like if Bob was telling us some crazy story. We're not going to get skeptical all of a sudden that it's really Bob, and that Bob has just been playing us this whole time. I mean, this was that guy. He was that guy.
Okay.
But this was just an incredibly bad trade. And then it
to start with, and then it spiraled out of control according to the narrative, and I mean
exactly
out of control.
So it came in as a trickle of data, trickle of information, from what I understand, remember of it.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it, what I think was intriguing, the reason it stuck around, because well, one, it was crazy, weird, but lots of weird stuff has happened over the years. But it went from Blog TV over to YouTube, and at the time, YouTube was still a more creative platform, a more collaborative platform, and there was a lot more people because of that were communicating and socializing over there more than they can now. You don't realize it.
Yeah, because there's no more VRs and stuff like that, like there used to be, right? Like you used to be able to literally link one subject that was, you were tagged in, and it was super easy to do in a VR. If you don't know, is going to be a video response to our audience members. Of course.
That tool created an atmosphere where people were hanging out on YouTube and having conversations. There was a lot more comments happening on at least gun-related videos and videos that we were in, in our people that we were networking with. Because there wasn't any other option. There wasn't a heavy Facebook appeal or anything. So because you could reply to comments and stuff, there was a lot of interaction. So anyway, that took this story from the blog TV and Matt's.
I don't know if Matt still has the video, but there is a video on Matt's channel where it is a response to this other person that did the mods that called out and threatened. I mean, anybody listening right now, if you don't know what we're talking about, like there was threats of violence. There was all kinds of weird, dark, freaking craziness that came forward through this, so to speak. And Matt, I know he had a video or two about it. I don't know if he still has them up or anything like that. That I don't know. But so much as in the reason it's the Mosin Saga, right, and not just the Mosin, is because it went from blog TV, it went to YouTube/YouTube Hangouts, and it continued to the very, like the beginnings or, part way into gun channels itself. Like that is how long this story not just either got repeated, but more facts more background started to come forward over time. And this person still had dealings with the person that ended up screwing them over on the modifications and stuff like that. So like the story just continued to go down the rabbit hole, spiral out of control, whatever way you want to look at it. So much so that I think somebody talked to Sean about lawyers or getting jacked around by the sheriff's department, or like it got real world weird. You know what I mean?
But there's also there was some saying.
You're making it sound like there's way too credible, like there was actually two positions in this. This was a guy who was incredibly odd, who basically gave somebody else who's sketchy as shit an AR-15 to do quote unquote work. The guy basically sawed a chunk out of his upper part of his gun. He basically demilled it. He demilled it.
Yeah.
Out of the top, and then he welded it part in. He would literally do that. Maybe the guy who did it knew how, in real life, how this other Ed was, and decided this is the best possible way this guy should own a gun with a big chunk of shit in the receiver. Maybe he just did that intentionally, and we're hearing it from Ed's perspective.
True.
It was this whacked out situation that was just extremely odd, and then everyone wouldn't let it go, and the dude relished in the tension from it, so he never let it go. And then it became a thing where like Matt couldn't get away from it, and the rest of us, you literally couldn't get away from it, because he would come back and go, remember me and my situation? Here's another crazy thing. And
here's the latest update.
Look what I did this time.
Well, just as one small little tidbit of that story, there's the J.B. Weld aspect of it, and how he thought it was a great idea to use J.B. Weld to reaffix his front sight.
Dude, are you talking about Good Guy? We're talking about Zombie Master Ed.
Yes, I am.
Oh, then
that's another story that I'm not referring to.
Because I don't remember the J.B. Weld on the front sight for Zombie Master Ed.
Yes.
Are you mixing the two up? Good Guy's in Arizona.
Nope, I'm not mixing them up at all. The Florida guy versus the Arizona guy.
Okay.
And the county sheriff coming up to his door and knocking on it on a regular basis during a chat. Excuse me, who is it? Oh, it's just the sheriff.
Yeah.
Oh, he comes here all the time. Don't worry about it.
It was the pizza guy. Don't worry. It was the pizza guy.
Yeah, it was a pizza guy. He's just wearing the uniform of the county police, the county sheriff.
Well, so and that is the whole deal. That is why it's, air quotes saga, because I don't know that any of the statements had ever been corroborated. I do know
Oh no, there was
there
definitely
was threats
Because there
though
were
that was on video. I did see that actually.
there was pictures of the guns and there were threats to Matt and other
Yep.
people, I think. And then that guy was making like responses to the world, like "Leave me alone." Now that we're talking about it, however many years later, I could and I don't. That guy was odd. Both parties in Florida are odd as hell. Like they're both uniquely odd individuals. But I could almost understand it now that we're talking about it. Never thought about it this way. That guy could have said, "This guy doesn't need to have another gun, so why don't I just chop a chunk out of his cylinder or his chamber and make it a demilled?" Because that's literally what he did. He demilled his gun. So maybe that was just his way of asserting his.
Oh, you know who that is, don't you?
The most ass backwards way of, even if you believe that, to actually carry out that thought.
Well, and
There
here's
are
the
other
thing.
avenues.
You
If
just
believe
don't.
somebody is a half a bubble off center and isn't mentally right to pursue before you start, altering people's property.
Well, especially if there was a deal or payment of some sort. Yeah, I don't know that is the right response on any level to ruin somebody's gun. Because to be honest, that's pretty much what he did. And he basically got paid an AR to ruin somebody else's Mosin. I mean,
Right.
so when you just even say those words out loud, you kind of go, "What the fuck?" And yes, that is the craziness of the Mosin Saga. That's why sometimes we'll just say it in passing and in reference to something going a little weird, a little off the rails or something like that, and refer back to the Mosin Saga for a second. So anybody out there listening to the podcast or listening right now, that is usually what we are referring to when we say anybody on Gun Channel says Mosin Saga. That's pretty much what they're referring to.
But
Way off the rails.
But Ed actually thought trading an AR for some basic work was actually a great idea. That's the bizarreness of it all.
Well, actually, the theory was about like it was basically going to be a super accurized Mosin in theory, like the trigger, the action, I think the sight, and there was something else that was on the list of stuff to get done, so to speak. So like in theory, I'm not saying it was still a good trade or anything like that. I'm just saying like what he had wanted was basically a uber accurized Mosin to make it better than the gun could really be. And I don't think he ever ended up having that happen.
I don't think he ever had a functioning gun after that.
No. There's always the what was it, the Phoenix that shot 10,000 rounds or something? So
Oh yeah.
no, there was other stuff, but that's a different story for different story time.
Was that right?
All right, so on that,
Does anybody else have any other comments on the Mosin Saga?
Yeah, I was on a phone there, but Tony on the YouTube side is saying the first YouTube drama story, but it's not, is it?
I don't think so.
Probably not the first, but the other two aspects, if you haven't guessed it already, is yes, there's some questions on the Ed's stability, and yes, there is probably very little question on Ed's use of mind-altering substances.
Well, I'm not saying that at all.
No,
that comment is not coming from me in any way.
No, that comment is coming from me.
He talked about that.
I'm speaking for myself. That's what he said on air live in one of the many sessions that Ed came back on the air until he finally stopped for good.
Yes, he would talk about how he was on like all these different medications from like.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I'm not going to disparage somebody on the internet about that kind of stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that comes back to bite someone in the ass.
There's no connotation, but we're just describing.
Yeah, right. This is what he told us. He uses both legal and illegal substances, period. And now whether you believe that, whether somebody thinks that plays part of the role of the story, I believe it does, but somebody else may not.
Well, are we done? Is that Gun Channel's story time for today?
I think so. I'm done.
Yep.
So we try to time that so that, again, if you're having a cup of hot chocolate and a soft cookie, then now you're done. And now we can move on to the next.
You just spewed it all over the counter and kind of threw up a little in your mouth.
No. Now you have a satisfied feeling and you know a little bit more about gun channels and you had a little chuckle, remember, in the past.
So that's a gun trade gone bad.
Oh, you want to do this email that we got yesterday that we pushed off because we were too busy?
I forgot about that. Yeah, we got an email in from Cycle Camp, and he did have a reference to a link to a Webster's dictionary on, and the question was, what differentiates a pistol from a handgun? Is a pistol the chamber integrated with the barrel? I thought it was an interesting question.
Is there an actual answer?
According to Webster's dictionary, in a pistol, the chamber is integrated with the barrel.
Right. That's a pistol. A handgun is something you can shoot from your hand. So a revolver has cylinders that revolve up into place into the barrel, or just revolve without a barrel. Then your Derringer, I consider it a pistol because your chambers are typically part of your barrel.
So a revolver is not a pistol.
Correct. Although a heck of a lot of people like to call it that.
Yes.
But a pistol can be a handgun.
All of them are handguns.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just, there's a different name for revolvers, basically.
Little known fact, a 9mm can't be a pistol.
How's that?
Too tiny. Bullets fall right out.
Again, we're going back. It has to do with the chamber integration with the barrel. It does not have to do with the caliber.
This is a guy with a love affair with the 22 short and the 25 ACP.
And that tells us all we need to know.
Whatever. So then we'll, was that more of like a now you know kind of thing? It wasn't really a question, or was the question what makes a pistol different than a handgun, and then you answered it with that?
Well, we can take it any which way we want to go. I mean, I think we answered.
No, I don't understand. Was that all the email, or was that the email on the top and then you found the answer underneath?
No, that was the email, and that was the answer he supplied.
Okay, oh, so it wasn't for the technical pop quiz, and we just kind of gave it away then?
Wow. No.
Yeah. That totally
Thanks, Dan.
happened.
Although,
that's exactly what happened.
Everyone.
That's just what happened. Okay.
I'm like, why would he send us the question and then answer it? Like, is he just like, FYI?
It's coming up in rotation.
So
yeah, so remember that one out there, folks.
Always use the subject line. This is for the quiz or whatever. Don't put in there like no subject, because then they'll just read it on air.
Yeah.
And the worst part is he spent 2 days getting ready to say that on air.
Yeah. I just like to let people know that we do actually read the email and we listen to what they have to say.
Well, we read it on air.
Clearly.
So we got Smeggy in here, who is live on location for shooting event Thursday. Are you at the show already, or just in that town?
Hey guys, sorry, I heard you say my name. I'm sitting here talking with Pink.
Pink Panther of Gun Channel's lobby fame?
Pink Panther of Instagram fame, and also epic middle of the night chat fame.
Maggie.
Can you relay a question to him for me?
I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to start the lobby while you're at the NRA show? Or you?
Anybody can.
Okay.
Yes,
well, I mean,
the answer is yes, Dano. Thank you.
Okay.
You know the old saying: "You host, we post."
Nice.
You hose, we pose.
You host, we post. If you were listening, that was our story last week.
Yes.
All right.
Ooh,
So
beautiful trees in Atlanta. Woo!
They got trees in Atlanta?
Dude, there's trees all over the city.
Dano,
Kind of cool.
Dano, only Canadians are called hosers, okay?
Now you're going to take a tour of the Gun Channel's pad for NRA.
Uh-oh. I'm afraid to see where all the chalk marks are on the floor.
Look at this. We got some swanky art and like a fancy chair.
That's way too nice for you fucking bums. What's going on? The Dollar Tree's really stepping up their game. Or wait, that's not the name of one of those places. What's the tree one? Double Tree, not Dollar Tree.
Kitchen.
Nice.
Got to be a Motel 6.
Burning bacon at 3 a.m. Wow, dude! Actually, this place is huge.
Closet into the bathroom.
Hey, you think you could hold your camera 90 degrees?
Oh, okay.
There we go. So, why do we care about your bathroom?
I don't know. Just cause.
Check the toilet for skid marks.
Yeah, you
I
did.
want to see the head.
Flush.
How much does this place cost?
I don't remember. It's not much though.
Holy shit, that's actually not bad.
That's nice. That is. I like having the kitchenette
there's
for the kitchen.
Some
So is
urns
this like a
grater.
Finally, you've got places to put your sugar and your flour and your other cornmeals.
is this like a
Grandpa,
two-bedroom apartment?
grandma, mom, and dad.
Is this a
That's
two-bedroom
just where all
apartment?
the people that have been ordered in the room were put.
Okay, I'll try to ask you, Ken. Is this a two-bedroom apartment?
Yeah, basically. So yeah, it's like a condo or whatever. Apartment.
Okay.
So, how many Gun Channels members are you gonna stuff into a 2-bedroom?
Right now, 4. Who else is coming?
Ballistic's coming, I think.
Oh, Ballistic's gonna mooch off us too. All right.
Nice. Hey, he's a college kid. You know what can he do?
So,
Yeah, I got dibs on the part of the couch that can have a short part.
who
He's a
gets
college
to
kid.
the
Why
bed?
is he not at Berkeley?
Because he
Yeah.
lives in Georgia.
Who gets to share the beds?
There's couches, Bob. You creep.
Yeah, there's couches. It's fucking 27 pillows on the couch, but
Yeah, did you see the fucking bed?
Now, do you guys both sleep in the nude?
Bob,
Oh,
stop.
Jesus Christ,
Literally,
Bob, shut
stop, Bob. Stop.
So who gets stuck out on the couch?
I got the couch, and I guess I'm gonna kick Ballistic because I got dibs on the long part of the couch. It's like an L shape, but one of them shorter
Just
than
make
the
him
other.
sleep in that chair under the nice picture. There you go. Give him the ottoman.
Sounds good, man.
Now, are you regretting that you didn't drive a van down there?
A little bit, but I'm wearing.
Oh,
I kicked him from the chat.
that's what regret will do to you.
Yeah, he talk shit about vans. He's getting kicked out of here. So maybe we'll see him come back again.
But we can continue on with the show while we're waiting. As long as Bob stops creeping us out with all that weirdness that he was just trying to do.
All right, so we got a
Sure
question
it
coming in
is.
from the YouTube side. We got a question coming in from the YouTube side from Brave. I have a valid question. Why do semi-auto companies consider the length of barrel, including the chamber, but revolver companies only consider the barrel's length, not the cylinder? Anybody know the answer to that one?
Because they're different?
A linked answer to dailygunshow@gmail.com. Subject line: Tactical Pop Quiz.
Nah. I think it's just because of what you said earlier between handguns and pistols. G, one, the chamber is attached to the barrel, or the what was the definition again of the difference?
The chamber is part of the rifle of the barrel.
Right. So then that's why, right there. That's the answer, I think. And whereas a revolver, it is not, because
why don't
it's
we-
not part of the chamber.
Why does he keep taking us to the bathroom?
Who?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
In the video,
What video?
He's got.
You must be really like.
You know, Smeggy's been out of the room for like
Oh, I've just realized that my YouTube page was not live. It was 2 minutes back.
you're echoing on your own self now, Dan. Are you sure you don't have like the speaker going in the background and you're listening on headphones or something?
He's an enigma wrapped up in a mystery.
No comment.
All right. Well, then that was a good question. And if someone does know the answer, yeah, feel free to let us know. But I suspect, I don't know why it would be that way. I don't think.
Wait, is this thing not working? Is my microphone not working?
What?
I thought we answered it with the like, for example, a pistol. The chamber is integrated with the barrel, and on a revolver, the chamber is not.
Yeah, but that has
So-
that doesn't. That just answers.
He's talking about the length, though. He's asking why. Didn't he ask why it's included with the length of one and it's not included with the length of the other? Isn't I
think
mean,
why, yeah.
He was asking, when measuring, why does one include the entire length of the cartridge or the chamber in a pistol, but only count the length of the barrel itself in a revolver? And if there is actually a discrepancy, if they measure barrel lengths differently than pistols than revolvers, I don't think I know the reason. I mean, I might speculate on it, but restating the question isn't the answer.
Is a 16-inch AR barrel include the chamber or not?
we were talking about pistols and handguns, not rifles or carbines.
Right, but I was just using that as an example as a question.
Yes, definitely.
He asked about rifles, though.
No. Pistols and revolvers. That was thoroughly confusing. So
Okay.
if you just hype for any of that and you want to stress any of it, then you can always email us, dailygunshow@gmail.com, or drop it into the comments here. Connery is saying cylinder gap. I thought if they go off of physics-based logic, maybe, where the actual bullet starts getting its kick and you lose all that power between the chamber and the cylinder and the barrel in a revolver, maybe like that's when it starts picking up speed again, but that doesn't make sense. So I have no idea why they would.
I think it's because it's not attached, right? Like, that's why the whole thing with the pistol.
Could it be as easy as, like, that's the part? Because what are you going to do? Stick your measuring rod all the way down your chamber all the time in a revolver? So maybe it's just easier to measure the barrel in a revolver?
With a round in it. I mean, because that's the only way to actually measure it otherwise, right? You got to have either a dummy round or a live round in it.
Good point. Yeah, you'd have to, well, if you tried to measure from the end, but you would also have to do something like that with a pistol if you started measuring just the barrel length.
Right, exactly.
When they measure barrel length, they are just talking about rifled barrel portion. They're not saying the entire chamber and everything, 3-inch.
Well, do I not understand how a bullet goes into the chamber and into the barrel? For example, in a revolver, it does not go forward into the actual barrel, right?
Unless it's
a handgun. Right. No. Oh, yes, technically, yes, because the thing moves forward. You are correct on that. You got me. But in a regular firearm, right, it goes right into the barrel. So I guess I don't know why then. That doesn't actually help.
I think it's what we talked about. It's because the chamber is integral to the barrel, so they measure that as the barrel length. And now on a revolver, you've got a barrel length, but you also have a revolving set of chambers. So they measure just the barrel, right? Now, if the barrel's part of the chamber, if the chamber's part of the barrel, that's your measurement.
Now we've all restated it again, and you're no closer to an answer. So, that's what you get when we don't have sponsors. So, I guess we'll move along.
There we go.
Move to the movie of the day.
Well, we do the gun of the day first.
Oh, now we're going to go out of order. So now Bob's pushing his way forward like a foreigner. I don't even know. Would you just copy and paste this right out of Wikipedia? Are you even trying anymore? 7874, blah, 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 burn, Swiss, 1929 revolver in 7.5 Swiss. That's like you just copy and pasted that.
That's not even a thing. He made that up. And what's up with the Swiss guns, Bob?
Just got a thing for Swiss guns right now. Anyway, it's a really well made, because it's made in Switzerland, 7.5 revolver that the Swiss developed for their military. Before that, it had I think a 10.5 millimeter that used a black powder cartridge. They changed the rifles to 7.5 for whatever reason. They changed the pistols, but they Like, it's a decent looking cartridge. It looks like about like a 38 special, but it's got less power than a 32 ACP. I mean, it's a really wimpy cartridge.
Because it's black powder, right?
No, actually, yeah, this was smokeless at this point. They just downloaded it so badly. But the revolver itself is a really nice revolver, very accurate. It's got a great single action trigger on it, and is typical for military type revolvers. So it's got that European influence in the grip and everything. The loading gate on it, which is weird, but when you revolve the chamber to load it or to empty it, you actually pull a trigger.
Says you, maniac.
Brilliant. Yeah, great. I wonder why that didn't keep
The
coming.
loading gate. This is the way it works. When you
Did I shoot 5 or did I shoot 6? Let's see. Blam!
If the loading gate's open, it won't fire. It just revolves the cylinder. Anyway, that's the way you. So for a loading gate gun, it's a little bit faster. Like, you can't even revolve the cylinder at half cock. It won't revolve. The only way to do it is the trigger when the loading gate's open. So it's interesting, and it's a very well made pistol. It's weird because it's European and it's from back in those days, but they made it for years. Yeah, I guess the Swiss liked it. I mean, but heck, did they ever fight anyone?
They didn't like it for very long. They got rid of it.
Hey guys, I'm having to get going, but you guys have a good show, and we'll try and do a thing tomorrow. Check in, let you know how NRA is going.
Right on. Have a good one.
And remember,
Maggie, you have a good time, man.
Oh yeah, thanks guys.
Say hi to Pink for me.
Hi Pink. Hey. Anyone listening, look for a tall, goofy-looking kid with a freaking Gun Channel shirt on. I'll give you patches and stuff.
Sweet swag. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Gotcha, man.
See you, Pink. So Dana went over and started up a lobby on Gun Channels. Anybody that wants to join in can do that. Get sick of the show.
Can abandon our show.
Yeah.
Anytime you like.
It's like Dano got sick of this already and decided, I'm just going to start an open lobby.
Like the difference in 10 minutes is going to make, right? But whatever.
Hey,
We're here for the people.
For the excellent example that Pink creates. He wanted to, he didn't want people to show up at Gun Channels. I mean, seriously, he wanted to make sure there was a lobby over there for people.
And that's awesome. I mean, honestly, I'm giving him a hard time, but no, that's a noble thing he's doing. Thanks for picking up the slack, Dano, if you can hear us.
Yeah, good job, Dano. Thanks. So, okay, that was the gun of the day. Let's do the movie of the day then.
I'm giving a thumb down to the gun of the day, by the way.
Even though I'm not a big fan, J&G Sales has the that revolver you're talking about, Bob. So if by any chance plans change and you happen your way through Prescott, you might be able to go fiddle with one if you wanted to.
Okay, cool.
All right, so yeah, Sean on the YouTube site is saying that grip angle. Steadily is saying, look at that grip angle. And yeah, goofy looking grip angle. You can tell European.
Yeah, it's very European. It looks like one of the old Tokarev pistols or one of the French.
Looks like a Bisley grip. Beasley. Actually, that looks English to me more than anything.
Well, European. I mean, they like that stuff. I don't know. I didn't like it, but then I prefer a bird's head grip to a regular 45 grip. So hey.
So Steadley's asking if Yankee Marshall has a show tonight. He doesn't have a show with me and Matt, but I don't think that stops him from still going on. I think he does do some kind of a show. I don't know though. He doesn't tell me about that one. All right, so then I think now we can move on to the next segment. And you were talking about movie of the day?
Yeah. Now, Seawolves, I'm not familiar with that one. What is
I also put a link underneath for the IMFDB page.
So every day we try to talk about a movie, something have to do with guns, maybe something you haven't seen in a while, or if you're a youngin', something you ain't seen yet. And today it's Seawolves. This one's been around for a while. We've been keep kicking it to the curb every time we come up with a different movie. So what year is this? 1980. Oh, I would have thought it was like the 60s or something. Is this a comedy?
1980s, based on the true story of aging ex-soldiers from the Calcutta Light Horse. Re-enlist. Man, I got something else popping up on the page. This sucks. Re-enlisted by the British in March of 1943 for a final mission to destroy a German ship in India during World War II. The film, entertaining and well acted by veteran stars such as Gregory Peck, David Niven, and Roger Moore during the peak of James Bond heyday, follows in the spirit of earlier films such as The Dirty Dozen and The Wild Geese. And then, of course, Roger Moore is using the Smith & Wesson Model 19.
Ooh, nice gun.
Gregory Peck's got himself a little 38 bodyguard from back in the day with the shrouded hammer. There's going to be a lot of guys you recognize. It is 1980. It is towards the middle or end. Bob, it's even got a high power in there. You'd love it.
Oh, I love it. High power, man.
It's also got a 1908 vest pocket pistol, which is great. It's got a Wembley. It's got an MP40.
Hold on. Indian spy working for the Germans.
Yeah.
Running high power.
A suppressed one.
What?
How cool is that? It's got a suppressor on it.
Oh, well, then, by all means, then ignore who's holding it if it's got a suppressor on it.
Oh, please. Just a gun. Oh, look.
So, did we just give away Gregory Peck's role in the thing then?
Remember earlier in the day when everybody was giving me the 25 ACP hate? Well,
yeah, there it is.
Pocket.
Well, it's good for threatening people. I'd hate to have to shoot someone with it.
He's going to shoot that guy in the boob right there.
Gonna just make him mad.
I like when they're practicing with the MP40 on the boat. Know what's your backstop and what's behind it.
This is what happens when you have 9mm. You have to stand that close to your target, and you still don't hit the bullseye.
Well, he was probably all over the road with that thing. I forgot about it.
Would you be interested in winging one of these old Nazi grenades?
Oh, hell
Would
yeah.
I? Oh, hell yeah.
Crazy. That's what's spoken by somebody who doesn't go around winging grenades ever. I wouldn't want to go anywhere near a Nazi grenade.
Bro, please.
I'll throw a Nazi smoke grenade or something. I ain't throwing a fragmentation grenade.
How about this? How about I throw the Nazi onto the grenade?
It's a soup can on top of a stick.
It's a fragmentation explosive that's crudely made by Nazis who only they're bloodthirsty. All they care about.
Now, how do you like the? Of course, it's the bad guys, but the PPK suppressed.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Bad guys.
We need to get Bob an iPad. You can have a whole nother level of.
Now that I'd be down, and you know what? The eye patch needs the Gun Channel's G on it. You know what I'm saying?
With the sombrero and the serape.
No. You don't know.
Oh,
no.
Did you make that part? Bob, we've got an idea to dress Bob up in a sombrero and serape. You call him
Roberto, because why?
So I can get deported and get a free vacation in Mexico.
Oh my goodness, we're all going to hell.
That's the movie of the day. Every day we try to talk about a movie that has something to do with guns. This movie was made in 1980, has James Bond in it, and has a bunch of guns. So we recommend it.
Gregory Peck, David Niven. It's a good movie.
Now that I've seen all them pictures, I don't even think I've ever seen this movie before.
I think I saw it years and years and years ago when I was a kid. So
yeah, me too. This is one of those ones where it was on. I think this is another one that I probably saw because it was on HBO or something like that.
I think I saw it when TV was.
No, I beg to differ. I can't imagine a time in history when a Roger Moore movie with a bunch of guns in it would have been on cable and I wouldn't have seen it at least once.
I said HBO.
I'd been talking about HBO back in the day. So all I'm saying is I don't think that this could have been. This had to be like a movie that came and went or something. This couldn't have been on all the time.
All right. So I think I saw it a few times. It's been 30 plus years almost. Maybe, yeah, it's definitely been 30 or more than 30 years since I've seen it. Easy.
Actually, I think I might have saw that at the drive-in, so I don't remember.
Now that I could believe.
Yeah.
I just liked it because there's some training scenes for taking over the boats, and they're on a timer and stuff like that, and it's just one of those things where it was almost a Delta Force before Delta Force. And I'm not saying that it's the same or that they're equal, because I'm not saying that. But
Yeah.
like how they said, it follows in the spirit of like the Dirty Dozen or the Wild Geese, where they get a team that don't know each other. They get them for this one job. They do the training montage, and then they go do this next to impossible mission.
Yeah, and they're a bunch of old guys. That's the best part.
Yeah, nice. I always love that sound. So I'm definitely going to give it 2 thumbs up, but then again, that's because it's a movie that I chose. I was kind of hoping that more people had seen it, but I also understand that it is from 1980, so there is a chance that there are not a lot of people out there that have seen it. And it had a bunch of never mind. I'm not going to disparage them. I was going to say it's got a bunch of wankers in it, but
So my auction for my van that's going on has 11 seconds left. It's up to $3,000, $3,100. It just got extended for
5 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever it is. Like if there's another bid within the last whatever, they jack it up another so much time, like they do on, what is it, like eBay does that too? Yeah.
no Gunbroker. eBay does
Gunbroker. Okay.
Anyway, 2002 Dodge van, 70,000 miles only, $3,000, and I put the opportunity out there for people that wanted to purchase stuff at the Gear website store to fund that van. Total sales 0, so not quite there, but I guess thanks for helping out. For thinking about it.
Just a bit outside.
Yep. That's too bad. That sounds like not a bad deal.
Well, it's a good deal for somebody else, I guess. So anyway,
what do we got left in the show of 299? Do you realize we're at show 299? Did you guys already realize that and talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Tomorrow is episode 300, so we're going to give away a Dodge 300. Maybe that could happen. Maybe not.
It might be a toy one, but
I can't think of any gun. Is there a gun that has a 300 in it? There's no 300 Magnum.
Oh, there's got to be a 300 of something.
Or is there?
what a copy of the movie 300.
It has nothing to do with guns. Except maybe I'm sure a lot of people would like us to kick you in a giant hole.
Welcome to Sparta, Bob.
Anyhow, so I don't know. Is there history today?
Man. Terrible. I don't know. I'm sure something happened today. What is today? The 27th? I saw somebody post something on Instagram about something. But I think I saw it on Facebook, though.
Probably fake news if it's on Facebook. So I'm not going to. Which one is the good one? I forget which one's the good one. I'm going to get burned here.
Yeah.
No,
Not the History Channel, right?
Yeah, it's the History Channel that sucks. So I did remember hearing something else too. British Parliament passes the Tea Act, so Bob's probably a big fan of that one. It's a big anniversary for him. President Lincoln suspends the writ of habeas corpus today in 1861.
Oof. That's kind of spooky, thinking that
In
they could do
19 oh, I see. I was thinking old Greeks. 1941, the Greek army capitulates to the invading Germans.
Yep. That was part of the frontier.
1961, the United Kingdom grants Sierra Leone independence. I thought there's like t-shirts that say Free Sierra Leone. 1975, Saigon is encircled by North Vietnamese troops. 1978, the Afghanistan Revolution begins.
With the Mujahideen.
1989, protesting students take over Tiananmen Square in Beijing. That was a big.
Tank.
You know,
But remembers the tank.
Guy with the shopping bag.
a lot of times I think of Bob's bullshit like the tank, and like I'm the only one standing there.
Standing there in front of it going, no, you shall not pass.
This has gotta
Oh.
end.
Jeez.
So I think 1791, back when Bob was a boy, Samuel Morse invented the telegraph and the code, which is handy.
Nice. So there's that.
It is. That was pretty exciting, actually.
Oh, here we go. 1900. Oh, wait, I guess it's his birthday. I thought it said he created Woody Woodpecker. The guy that created Woody Woodpecker was born, I guess.
Walter Lantz.
He was a nice guy. I had a couple beers with him. I liked him.
Shut up.
Whatever,
You
1900.
met Walter Lantz, dude? Are you kidding
Born
me?
1900.
Nice guy.
I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I'm just calling bullshit on that you met one of my favorite illustrators of fucking all time.
Is it possible that this guy was just minding his business, drinking a beer, meets Biker Bob, and then all of a sudden Woody Woodpecker happens?
Is
Is that what Bob's saying?
that or he's like Andy Panda or any of the other awesome characters that came from Walter Lantz.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite comic illustrator writers.
Out of all of those things, I think I'm sticking with, well, it's a tough one. Tiananmen Square versus the Vietnamese. I'm going to go with Saigon is encircled by the North Vietnamese.
That's a heavy duty one for sure.
1975. So that's your history today. Let's see, what else do we got? TacDaddy should be doing a show. Probably already started it like 6 minutes ago. At some point tonight, probably about an hour, I'll start up a AK-47 Guru podcast. There's all kinds of interesting things because now I know where the rocks are. So Z, remember how yesterday was? We were chatting in this live chat from 7:30 to whenever, or from 7 to whatever time we went off air. And we chatted till like the rest of the evening for hours about the daily gun show and how we're going to run it and that kind of thing and what we can do with it. And then we ended up talking about other stuff. I don't remember when you checked out there, but when you checked out, Smeggy and I were already digging into filming locations, right?
Yes.
Right. We were scrutinizing Google Maps and using all.
Oh, we were deep into it. Yes.
So, did we find the location when you had left?
You had not found the location of the gas station yet. No.
Okay, well, we definitely identified, literally no questions about it, identified the location of the gas station. So when they leave, when the first shit starts going down, they get in the truck and they go out of town. They stop at dude's dad's gas station, or maybe it's his grand. I think it was his dad's gas station.
It was his dad.
Load up and then head out of town and then get pulled off and have to like try to divert from a roadblock, and then the helicopter comes and shoots up the roadblock, but they get their radiator blown out. That whole like time, a location, and we found it. Like I say, we got 100% evidence of that location, and then Smeggy passed out. But
Well, dude, it was like 4 a.m. maybe for you guys or for him. It was late for him.
Look, when you're dedicated and you've got heart, you've got commitment, time is insignificant. So we were onto something, and I had found some good evidence, a good solid vein of 100% pure evidence from what was going on in that movie. So I kept going, and anyway, I'll show you. Am I still screen sharing? I don't know if you saw the post on the AK one.
I saw a couple of posts, or at least I saw 1 or 2 rock posts this morning. I thought I saw 2.
Rock post on the AK-47 buyer's guide. So let's open that up on the screen capture here. So yeah, I found the rocks where Aardvark stands up there and yells Wolverine at, like undisputed. That's
nice. Well, because we were watching, right before I left we did just watch like that scene or whatever, and we were talking about being able to figure out where that rock is because it's got the ravine on the other side of the highway and it's got the rocks going into like a valley or whatever down below.
Oops.
When you're looking from where he was looking at out, basically.
So you're talking about the gas station or whatever.
What?
You're talking about when we were looking for the gas station.
That was when I had left, but we had just watched the movie portion of him standing up there, and we were talking about when like the view is from where he's looking at across.
Oh, I see what you're saying. When we were looking at where Aardvark was actually standing, and because we thought it was over where the helicopters are, and where they're squirting grapefruit on each other. It's not.
Yeah, and I didn't think that.
It is 3 hours from that location.
Now that makes more sense because there's a different type of setup happening, you know.
Mm-hmm. This is the location where the people from town are about to be killed in a firing line, and then right when the commies are about to kill the innocent civilians, the Wolverines kill the commies, and then they drop like a grenade down into the open manhole cover on that tank.
APC, yep.
So anyway, yeah, pretty freaking cool. Super happy that I found this because I didn't think this was going to be findable because that's what I think Z was talking about. We were looking at it from the movie and all you see is like sky. So we were like, well, maybe there's some way we can get out there and stand in a couple of places and see if we can't determine from the way the hills are shaped or something, or the level of the hills or how many rolling hills there are before it hits a peak, you know, somehow determine where they filmed it and then try to navigate to some place like this to get the right perspective and everything. But I was able to, you can wiggle around Google Earth, wiggling it around and look at the different views from the street. I was able to find that this is pretty much as close as you can get from Google Earth. They probably stood on the other side of the street, and Google Earth is just a little car that drives on the street. But this is it. All this stuff lines up, and this little stain on this rock confirms it that this is the spot. So very, very freaking cool.
Nice.
Only place left to find really is the hidey holes, which are different. We've verified that the gas station is a separate gas station than where she.
Oh yeah, that's not Robert's dad.
No,
that's a different one.
So that's down on that other location. That anyway, what my plan is during the AK-47 Buyer's Guide show is I'm gonna devise a strategy. It's one of the reasons I was snooping at a van again because I really want to drive up there now. I literally wish I just had the opportunity to just drive up there right fucking now. But
you do realize that the land's not going anywhere, right? I mean, just saying.
How do you know? How do you know they're not selling this land right now? Some investors.
Fair enough. That's a valid point, dude. That's a valid point. That's a valid point.
Road.
Well, the other problem is I want to go up there when there's somebody else standing there. So I'm trying to coordinate it with Bob so that we can go past there.
Are you gonna make Bob climb the hill?
No, I want to be able to climb the hill, but I don't want to have like the 30-second timer on my
yes. No, I got you because you ain't scaling that in 30 seconds. Well, I shouldn't say that. You might jackrabbit. You might.
Just for the 2 pictures we got out of the last time, it took us like 2 hours to come up with those 2 pictures because it takes a while to get, the right picture.
Oh yeah.
Because we want to have a
yes, I do understand that concept.
So anyway, it's doable. Like you say, it's probably not going anywhere. Probably, but you never know. Anyway,
so that's going to be on the AK-47 Buyer's Guide this evening.
Yes, it'll be a very special edition of the AK-47 Buyer's Guide or the AK-47 Guru podcast.
Yep.
Nice. Awesome. So is that about it for $2.99?
I think it is. We talked about everything. So
it's
that
not
means
$3. It's $2.99.
Tomorrow's $3.
Yep.
Yeah, that's $3 to be here tomorrow. It'll be episode 300. If Smeggy was here, he would be able to do the complicated math to figure out how many days or weeks or months or years we've been doing the show now. We're going to be talking about alternative gun topics, taking shit on others' firearms, gun shaming.
That would be talking.
Oh,
as opposed to taking.
Talking shit about others' firearms, gun shaming instead of embracing yourself in the gun community and realizing everyone doesn't have the same tastes or needs as you.
I think that was directed at somebody on the panel, but I'm not sure.
It's obviously above, and I think it's condescending. So we'll address it because it came up. But that'll be our topic tomorrow. The gun is.
I don't gun shame anyone. If you can't afford a high power, that's just too bad.
We'll be talking about the history of FN. So we'll have the both F and N on as guests tomorrow if everything lines up.
Sesame Street. Did we get clearance for that?
Well, Smeggy and Dano are going to sit down at the FN booth. They're going to have the Mr. F and Mr. N on, and then have a bunch of free prizes because it's our 300th episode, and probably the car giveaway. Unless something goes wrong, more than likely we'll have a car giveaway.
Like the Chrysler 300?
And then, yeah, exactly. And unless something goes wrong, of course, we'll have the sit-down interview with the creators of FN. And otherwise, we'll figure out something if for some reason something goes wrong with those plans. And then all the stuff we had on a regular basis. So that'll be
We will improvise, adapt, and overcome, my friend.
That'll be 7 p.m. tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific. I think that's it.
Yep. Bob, you're up.
All right. Well, we'd like to end our show with a quote. Today's quote's by Theodore Roosevelt. But before that, I just want to remind everybody, please subscribe, please thumbs up, and share. We want to get the word out there. We want to get some more subs onto the gun channel, onto the Day of the Gun Show. Come on, guys, step up, share it with your friends, tell them to subscribe. Let's do it. Let's get this thing rolling. Anyway, Theodore Roosevelt. No man is above the law, and no man is below it. Nor do we ask any man's permission when we ask him to obey it. And with that, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow for show 300.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.